All right, folks, this one's kind of a big one for Bible prophecy buffs because we are looking at a headline that says EU will set up first rapid deployment military force by 2025. Now, this one is kind of crazy. Let me read this to you. It says the EU has reportedly set its sights on establishing a 5,000-man rapid deployment military force by 2025, a report has claimed. It says in what appears to be the most concrete development in the EU's desire to have its own military, lawmakers in Brussels are reportedly in the concrete planning stage for establishing a 5,000-man rapid deployment military intervention force, a report has claimed. Now, folks, I just want to simply ask this one question because I think it's important. If the EU is going to deploy a rapid deployment military, who rules that military? Is it the EU that has a very specific interest in one of its member nations? Is it one of the rulers of its member nations? Or perhaps are we talking about the idea that they are laying down a pathway to consolidate the number of nation members in the EU, as they've been talking about, into super states, which will eventually go to a smaller number, maybe 10 nations, I don't know, we'll see, who then will realize at one point that they have to give that power to a single person in order to create a unified union. Folks, I seem to remember in Revelation chapter 13, where we talk about a final Antichrist who will set himself up in the temple and demand to actually be worshiped. Folks, that is after we read about 10 nations who have 10 individual rulers giving all of their power to that one person. Look, I am not saying that the European Union is that group of nations, and I'm certainly not saying I know who the Antichrist is or isn't. I don't think we have a real viable candidate yet for the final Antichrist. But what I am saying is that the stage is being set. Yes, we are seeing things begin to come together now that are making people's minds and hearts open to ideas that used to be unthinkable. Maybe Nigel Farage is vindicated here. I don't know. But perhaps more importantly than that, maybe the word of God is continuing to prove itself to be true. Many of you may have gotten the reference to Farage there. You probably laughed, especially those of you in the UK. But my point is this. The word of God is real. It's true. Time to open up our eyes and recognize that God will not be mocked. And when he says something is going to happen, it's going to happen. And maybe we ought to put our faith and trust in him. Jesus is coming soon. It's time to open up our eyes. God bless you guys.